this off here. Welcome everyone to the City of Erie Land Bank meeting for March 20th, 2023, and I would like to begin by seeking a motion to approve the agenda and minutes from our prior meeting of February 20th.
Mr. Chair, I'll be happy to make that motion.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
That takes us to the finance report.
All right, so in front of you is the balance sheet and profit and loss as of February 28th. Currently, we have $134,104.51 in the checking account. We still have $40,000 in the escrow account for the developer proposals that we have outstanding. $13,430.98 in the savings account. Over the last month, we had $86,000.41 in profit and expenditures of $63,605.07, which includes just some miscellaneous expenses, boarding and seal, and some that includes the rehabilitation expense paid on 1319 Parade Street to tarp and secure and stabilize that property so that we could get those developer proposals. So that's the finance report.
Okay. Questions? Chuck, good?
I'm good.
So
I'll make a motion to accept the finance report as presented.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. It takes us to citizens to be heard. Any citizens here to speak today? Anyone online? Hearing none? Okay, we're good. Let's go ahead and move on to report of the Executive Director.
All right, so an update we're working through and provided in your board packet is the demolition bids as part of Work Plan 2022. Since we had those properties completed there in January, moved forward with getting a lot of those ones out for demolition, and several of them have already started to come down. So we're working through on that. Still the outstanding property there at 221 Locust Street, and you'll see on there, we did get bids on that one, and it is on the agenda to approve the bids, but that is specifically so that when we go to the Board of Viewers and all of that process as we move forward, we can utilize that as an expense we're going to have to pay for the property. So that's all there. Work Plan 2023. The Redevelopment Authority Board last week passed the resolution to file condemnation against the properties that you approved last month. So Gene and his team are working on the title work and everything and all the other paperwork, just compensation. We're getting the appraisals and everything done on those. So we should be filing condemnation on those within the next month. So those will be start moving through, and then as long as that process gets a little faster, we'll hopefully have them done by the end of the year. So that's my report for today.
Aaron, I think you mentioned probably at the last meeting, when is the Board of Viewers scheduled for Locust?
The Board of Viewers was scheduled, it was a couple weeks ago. We were on the schedule. There was a perceived conflict of interest with one of the three viewers that he had listed the property, or his firm had listed the property. Gene requested, some clarification or such from the Board of Viewers. He since stepped down, so now they canceled that on-site visit, and we are waiting on an appointment of a third viewer again, and then the rescheduling of that visit to the property by the Board of Viewers. So we're still kind of in a holding pattern on that.
So we don't know when that'll be then?
No. Hopefully it doesn't just stall there, but Gene will keep on them about that.
Thank you.
I think we were joined by somebody on Zoom. My eyesight isn't so good, so I'm not sure who that is, but I just wanted to recognize that there's a
Paul.
Oh.
I could hear, I can't see. This is getting old. I don't care for it at all.
Okay, so Paul's on the meeting now.
Okay. Very good. Paul, can you hear us? Hopefully Paul can hear us.
Paul, can you hear us?
So let's skip
Hello?
over solicitors.
there he is.
Oh, there he is.
All right, we can hear you, Paul.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, thanks.
Aaron, if you're okay, we'll skip over solicitors report till Gene is here.
Yeah.
I see him coming in, but you want to move on to the demo bids? then?
Yeah, absolutely. So, in front of you is demo bids for 7 properties. Like I said, they're part of the Work Plan 2022 acquisitions. Like I said, 221 Locust Street that will be held until we go through that Board of Viewers, but other than that, those are the demo bids. The one, 1103 East Avenue, that does seem low, but just to keep in mind, that property is extremely small, so that's why there's the difference in price there. So those are there for your approval.
So we can approve these in a slate, correct?
Yes,
That's all as well.
absolutely.
So, do we have any questions?
I'm just curious, Aaron, you noted the one that was small. I mean, obviously, the 621 East 25th is quite a bit higher. Is that property larger? I'm just curious as we look at that in comparison to the others.
Jake, you familiar with that one?
I'm not positive, but I want to say there's 2 houses on that parcel.
Yes, there's 2 structures.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
So Empire won 4 of them. E.E. Jones, which is new to the demolition bids. These will be his first properties through us for demolition, but he has done stuff for the city. So Mr. Lavery is satisfied with his performance on those as well. So.
Good. Any other questions on this? If not, I'd seek a motion to approve the slate of estimates.
I'll make the motion to approve the slate of estimates.
And I'll be pleased to second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you. Developer proposal for Parade Street.
All right, so we received one proposal for 1319 Parade Street from Housing and Neighborhood Development Services. Provided in your packet is roughly 7 pages of their proposal. In the Dropbox link that provided to you guys last week was the 42 pages of information, if you had a chance to go through that. And then Mindy put together a memo. I apologize, the formatting when I transferred it over to this screwed up, so any of the typographical errors are my fault, not Mindy's. But she just kind of summarized their proposal for you so that, you know, if you didn't feel like reading through the 42 pages of information that they so graciously provided. But offer $5,000 with the intent to rehabilitate that property into 4 one-bedroom apartment units. They've already done a substantial amount of evaluation of the property. They provided the detailed financing of the property along with their use of different funding sources to rehabilitate the property. So yeah, I think it's, given their investment on Parade Street, you know, a welcome proposal for that property.
Aaron, I was pleased to see reference to John Vanko, who I believe is the next property
Yes.
owner. What is the relationship there?
I know they've had some working relationship in the past on a couple of other properties we had on Parade Street,
Okay.
but there is some interest for John to have that property rehabilitated
Certainly.
next to his, you know, so they're certainly working together on that, and I know they've toured the property together.
Okay, excellent.
I'm embarrassed to ask this question because I should know the answer, but because Hands is a nonprofit, does this property then go back on the tax rolls because then it's rented as affordable housing?
That I do not know. I'm not aware of how they structure their.
Mr. Slade?
So the process would be they would have to apply for real estate tax exemption, and given the recent trend in the last 10 years, probably it's going to be difficult
Yes, okay.
difficult to receive exemption on this on a property like this.
So it's not an automatic exemption
No.
just because they're a nonprofit?
No, that
Okay.
is correct.
Okay.
It's-
And I think there's a willingness there, too, for them to.
Sure. I think they've entered into some agreements,
Yes,
but,
yeah.
okay, thank you.
And this would be a rental property, not a for sale property, which I think is different for this body to approve a property into it. This would be our first rental to approve?
We've approved other rentals
Okay.
before, but this is our first 4-unit
Okay.
developer proposal,
Multifamily.
and given a commercial corridor acquisition and developer agreement.
And I'm fine with that. I just wanted to, just make as this body grows and, and policies are set, it's good to know what we're doing.
Are we allowed to approve this contingent that it remains on tax rolls? Is that within our?
Yeah, I mean, the board could make whatever recommendation or that they would see fit for the property, and we could, pass that along, and if they agree to accept that as part of the developer proposal, I'm sure we could work with Gene to have that added into the proposal.
Does that pass muster that we can approve it that way? I believe that's the intent, and it's always
Sure.
been what's been conveyed to me, but I think we should probably approve it that way.
Correct. And maybe as an opportunity as we develop policies, maybe that's a question that's asked to any developer going forward then, so they can self-disclose that, so we don't have those uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess sitting here knowing, I'm the appointee of the school district, I think it is my job to ask then, is that going to continue? So I agree with Mr. Scalise, if that could be asked on the developer proposal, that would be fantastic, so that we're aware going in.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
So then if there are no other concerns, I would seek a motion to approve the request based on the assumption it will remain on the tax rolls.
I'll
I'm
make
not sure
that
how we
motion.
want to word that, but
I'll make that motion however Mr. Groner said it.
What he said. I'll be pleased to second that.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Aaron.
Thanks.
We want to go ahead and finish up.
You just want, we talk about this next one, then we'll go back to.
solicitor. Yeah.
Yeah, so Erie Land Bank Developer Agreements Proposal Selection Criteria. So as we move forward, some of that Work Plan 2022 has some properties that are going to be eligible for developer proposals. And we've gone through a lot of them. I know under the, several months ago, we had a lot of those properties, and there was a lot of information, and we accepted a lot of proposals. And I think before we put out the 3 or 4 properties that we have, Mindy certainly had expressed, she wants to know what the board is looking for, so she knows what to specifically ask these developers, when her and Jake talk to them, like, what are we looking for? What information are we passing along to the board? What proposals do we say, no, this isn't acceptable, so the board doesn't get muddied up with, proposals that aren't complete. So certainly asking for a study session with the board so that we can kind of sit down and go through kind of that whole developer process and get a good understanding of what criteria specifically the board wants to see and how we want to move those through so that we can kind of streamline some of those, and not provide stuff that isn't necessarily applicable to every property. So, and then on that as well, we're looking at the developer agreements and how we can potentially restructure how we transfer these properties, and whether transferring them directly to the developer without the land bank's involvement in the event they do fail to develop the property, and how we can work maybe a different avenue of conveying those properties and the ability to recapture them. So just a few things we'd like to sit down at a study session and just kind of work through,
Well, I think it's always good to, circle back, make sure that we're fine-tuning things as we need. I think largely everything's been going well, but I like the idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it
I
was.
was thinking really about the first week of April, if there's a day or time that works better for the majority of the board, I can have Cynthia send out some days and.
Let's say if you can send a doodle pool or something
Okay.
that we can respond to.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
And then the only other thing I had before we hand it off to Gene is in your packets and sent out to you is the Westmoreland County Second Annual Blight Remediation Summit held down in Westmoreland County. Mindy and I attended it last year, their first annual summit. It was actually extremely successful and very beneficial to get kind of everybody from all different walks of the blight process in the same room. They had far more people attend than they even could have imagined. So this year they're certainly excited that it's growing. So I put it out there. We'll probably register at least myself, Mindy, and Jake to attend it this year. And just if there was any board members that wanted to attend, we would certainly add that to the registration as well. It's one day, April 21st. It kicks off, I believe, at 8 o'clock in the morning. I think last year it ran till about 3:30. So, but it was this year they're going to have some code enforcement roundtables. So I've passed the information along to Andy to see if anybody from his team would like to attend. And then they're going to do a bunch of different blight things, and it's kind of a different, because everyone's a little bit different, but it was good. So.
Do you know if there's a virtual option? I just
There
won't
is
be
not.
traveling. Okay.
There is not.
Okay. I'd like to check my calendar. I know I am traveling around that time, but I'll take a look at the date. I would be interested if I'm able.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you could just, anybody just let us know by the end of the week
Yeah.
so we can get those reservations in.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so then let's pivot back to solicitor's report.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing?
Thank you.
In your packet, you'll see the memorandum, a breakdown of all the fun activities that we've been doing over the past 30 days. We do have a hearing set. That's a quiet title action matter. Do not anticipate any problems with that, but that will take place on June 8th. Also wanted to provide the board with a breakdown or an itemization. We have been a very busy entity. It is great to see. This is what we've wanted to see, and this is why we're here, and what we're doing for the city of Erie. So there's also a breakdown of what we have on the horizon. And I also wanted to let the board know that the properties, there were, I want to say, about 15 that were taken at the December sale. Those title searches are now back. I'm reviewing those so that when the 6-month period ends, we're ready to go there. So we have a lot in the pipeline. It's been extremely busy, which is great. That's exactly what we wanted to see. I would like to be part of the roundtable, so if that invitation the first week of April, because I run into that situation with people circling back, so I would like to be a part of that.
Absolutely, Gene.
And if there is, I know you went last year, the Westmoreland. If there's material that would be beneficial for me, I can check my calendar as well. It's the more information that I have, the easier and the smoother it goes from this point forward. So would be more than happy to be a part of that. And it's probably late enough in the season that there might be a nice golf course around there that I might be able to find. So maybe we could work that out as well. So
Yeah.
all right, keep me in the loop. That'd be great.
Looking for those efficiencies.
Seriously, absolutely.
Thank you, Gene. Yeah, if you could, I think you did send information on that, but if you could resend that conference information. It is going to be hard to break away for the day, but I'm sort of intrigued.
Sure.
So,
Mr. Gamble's on video. He may want to say something. Paul,
I'm okay. I'm just
are you good?
listening right now.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to be in the flow when you're out here and not there in person, but
Yeah.
I'm with you guys.
Perfect.
thank you.
Sorry, I've been that guy on the other end, and it's hard to, hard to always hear.
Okay, so do we have other business, any other business?
That is all I have for today.
Okay. Panel?
I just had a question for you, Aaron. I should have asked with your report. I know that the Land Trust had their presentation, their workshop on Friday. I was watching on Zoom, just curious if you were there, if you had any thoughts, how it might be impacting, the Erie City Land Bank. Any thoughts generally?
As we move forward, it was certainly, I think we've identified some other organizations and groups that could be brought into the fold as far as the steering committee. Over the last year, a group of 8 to 10 of us have been meeting regularly to try to, get this thing moving forward. But I think we identified some additional people. We're certainly looking at the Land Bank and the Redevelopment Authority as kind of the avenue at which the properties can, at least in the city of Erie, move into the land trust, through our acquisitions, our tax sale or condemnation, whatever that would be, that, some of those properties would maybe affordable redevelopment opportunities, that we could move into the land trust and affordable ownership. So certainly it's a key part, I think, that the land bank, is involved in that.
You felt it was positive, fairly positive reception there?
Yeah, no, I think everybody's, was positive. There were some good questions, some
Yeah.
stuff that we certainly had not thought about before, so some things we have to go back and try to figure out an answer for. So, but overall, I think it was generally positive.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Chuck, any comments?
No, I too was watching in, and appreciate the forward movement. And my only other question was, with the administration of such a new entity, is there an existing entity that can administer the community land trust as opposed to creating yet one more entity with one more leadership team and one more overhead, so on? That was just a comment, and I know that it's being considered.
Yeah. Right now, the plan is that, given it's county-wide, that it will operate within the Erie County Land Bank office, who will, nurture it, foster it until it can get its own legs and walk on its own. So.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Paul, any other questions or comments as we wrap up here?
No, I'm good.
You good? Okay, well, before we adjourn, I want to wish everybody a happy first day of spring. I think it's official at like 5 o'clock or something, but we'll just call it now, so there you go.
All right.
There we go.
And thank you all for the continued efforts and great work that you're doing. So, and with that, we are adjourned.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.